Nice. Hello and welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a Yorion BUG Zenith deck. So a huge thank you to Yihua, who's actually passed on the deck to me. Really fascinating. I found it on Twitter. He obviously did really well with it. He has made some changes since then that I haven't been able to do. Just some last ones that I heard of. So a second Collector Ouphe in the main deck is a pretty nice one against some of the current Zerda and Gyruda decks, especially against LED. Collector Ouphe is just really nice, and I think of course LED is pretty popular right now, so Collector Ouphe is probably one of the better hate bears in this deck, although there are only a few. So being a 80 card deck, obviously wanting to make sure we can draw into a lot of our sort of game winning cards. We do have cards like Astrolabe and Ice-Fang Coatl, which are really nice because they replace themselves on ETB. Sylvan Library can be really nice just to churn through the deck as fast as we can. There's definitely a lot of double ups, so 2 Fatal Push, 2 Plague Engineers for the creature decks. Trophy's pretty nice because it can interact with things like Dark Depths. Of course, the token itself is not destroyable, being indestructible, but we can hit things like Thespian Stage or Dark Depths in response to the combo. Abrupt Decay is really nice as well right now with the amount of Delver going around. A little bit of Veil still, so Decay can be a little bit of a liability, but I still think it's just one of the best pieces of removal in the format right now. With the mana base, we do have the full 11 fetch lands, 3 forest, 3 island, 1 swamp, and then just 1 of each dual land doubling up on Tropical Island. We then have 3 Wasteland, Karakas, and Dryad Arbor. Dryad Arbor nice because we can fetch it through 8 of our fetch lands, being Misties and Verdants. For mana dorks, we have 3 Goose, 3 Hierarch. Goose really nice, of course, with Oko, and also just as a late game sort of mana sink. But Noble's really nice just to make sure that we're also getting out our mana every turn. There can be times where you play a Gilded Goose and then you just don't have the time to kind of put mana into it and create food just to, you know, kind of time walk yourself a little bit with mana where you just want to be casting threats on curve. So this should be pretty fun. 3 Okos, 2 Jace as the Planeswalkers. Oko, of course, great against a lot of the fair decks. It creates kind of a sub game for some of the creature-based decks that kind of have to deal with it before they deal with you. So Oko can be really good at setting up sort of a bit of time for yourself, which is pretty great in an 80 card deck because we want to, of course, try to get as much time as possible to see as much of our deck as possible. Leovold is definitely one of my all-time favorite cards, so it's really nice to be playing Leovold again. Leovold's interesting. It's never really had a home since the days of like 4 color with Deathrite Shaman. It saw a little bit of play in Shardless Bug, but since then it's kind of been a in and out kind of card. It's never really had like a true home. So I think that some sort of BUG Zenith deck is really where Leovold shines, especially where you can find it with Green Sun Zenith, which is probably the biggest advantage of having it in this deck. Uro just as a one-of. Uro is an interesting one. For those on stream who have watched me in the past, we've never really been a deck that searches for Green Suns in Maverick or BUG Zenith or any sort of deck like that. But just to have it in the deck as a one-of is really powerful. It allows us to use our graveyard as a resource really well. It allows us to get back into the games where we might be losing to like an aggressive start from our opponents. So that's really nice. And at least in this deck, it's not too hard to get the mana requirements of Escape through double green and double blue. So Uro is pretty nice. Collector Ouphe does hit us with Astrolabe, but that's really it. I guess there's also Tireless Tracker's clues, but the amount of hate that Collector Ouphe will be giving our opponents compared to what it'll be doing for us is pretty negligible. So I think that Collector Ouphe is really good in this deck, especially when we have kind of 5 copies of it with Green Suns. Ramanap's great with Wasteland, of course. Tireless Tracker is just great at grinding out some of the mid-range games. Questing Beast is pretty interesting. Still one of my favorite Green Suns targets, especially with Exalted in the deck. It can be quite a quick clock at dealing with our opponent, and can be really good against some of the young Pyromancer decks where they don't usually have the greatest blocking capacity to deal with Questing Beast, so that's always nice. In regards to keeping other decks as fair as possible, we have 4 Force and 2 Force Negation. Negation's really nice right now with Dreadhorde Arcanist and Life Nalome decks pretty high up in the metagame, so I think Force Negation is really nice. It's just making sure that you take your picks where you really need them. And, you know, in a deck that runs Gilded Goose and Noble Hierarch, we do have the ability to just hard cast Force Negation on turn 2, which is really nice. So that should be pretty interesting. To the board, we have some Graveyard Hate in 2 Crop Rotations and a Bojuka Bog. I'm a really big fan of Crop Rotation and Bojuka Bog. I'm not a big fan of just Bojuka Bog. Being a Maverick player, you obviously see a lot of decks that play just one Bog because of another Reliquary. But against a lot of the decks where you want Bojuka Bog's ability, you want it, you know, on earlier than turn 3 or 4, where you have like a Knight online. So Crop Rotation allows you to cast it or get it into play from as early as turn 1, which is really nice. So I really like Bog, especially because with Yorion you can actually flicker it, so you can get extra triggers off its ETB, which is nice. Veils are just a pretty sweet card. Great against combo, great against hand disruption. Great at making sure your own stuff doesn't get trophied or decayed or fatal pushed. Just a really nice card that, of course, replaces itself and can put your opponent in some pretty sticky situations. Last Hope is interesting. I think Last Hope has been a card that's been on the decline since the printing of Plague Engineer. But I think it's really solid, especially in this deck where, again, we have Mana Dorks to get it out turn 2. And it is a win con on its own. You know, opponents have to deal with it through something like Council's Judgment, or maybe making some pretty loose attacks with multiple creatures to get it off the table. So I really like Liliana Last Hope. Also, just letting us get back cards like Ice-Fang Coatl, or Leovold from the bin can be really nice. So Liliana should be pretty fun to play with. Rec Sage is here as another way to interact with artifacts and enchantments. Rec Sage is really nice against the Blood Moon decks because you only need the 1 green source to get it on the field. It's also something to flash with Yorion, which is really nice. Maybe Knight of Autumn is in contention if this deck was playing white, just because the amount of sort of leverage you can get off that by getting multiple ETBs, so you might bring it down as a 2-1 that destroys something, then you might bring it back down as a 4-3 that can start beating down. So I think for this deck, Rec Sage is pretty perfect. Just 1 Fatal Push in case we play against any decks where we want the extra 1. Delver decks, Death and Taxes, Maverick, Goblins has been around a bit as well, so that should be pretty fun. Obviously just a really good card for its mana cost, and with the amount of fetches in the deck, we shouldn't have an issue with Revolt. That's pretty much it. This should be a really fun deck to play with. Of course, we're playing 80 cards, you do run the risk of just having some pretty awkward draws, but I think Bug has some really nice tools to help you just make sure you're playing a pretty consistent game in and out of your matches, especially with cards, as I said before, like Astrolabe, Ice-Fang Coatl. You can just churn through your deck pretty quickly, and you know, get your library down to a pretty manageable situation. So let's see how this goes. I should hopefully have some play points. Nice. But yeah, this deck should be pretty fun. Oh. Whew. Obviously, there's a BNR announcement next week as well, I believe. So that should be pretty interesting to see what they're doing with what everyone can only assume is companions in Legacy and Vintage and Commander, I believe. I know that Modern was left off the table, but that was pretty interesting. I've never seen an announcement like that where they've kept off a pretty popular format. So we're not playing against a companion deck. So I'm not too sure what that means. I'm not too sure if that means that we should be thinking that we're playing against a combo deck that doesn't need a companion, which might be the case. I think this hand is fine. We do have Force with Brainstorm. We do have a little bit of an awkward situation with our mana, having double Island and a card like Abrupt Decay in our deck, or in our hand, but I think Brainstorm can help that pretty well. So I'm going to keep this. Most likely just playing Island pass, untap, play Misty pass, and then maybe Brainstorm to see what we're up against. It's really nice to be back on a Force of Will deck. It's always nice just to have that kind of set up. Mother Runes. Okay, this is going to be normal death and taxes. So I guess what I could have done there is I could have forced, because with our current mana situation, we don't have an answer straight away for Mum in case, unless we draw into Fatal Push. We do also have Plague Engineers in the main deck, which is quite nice. So we don't actually have to deal with the Mum while it's offline. We do have the ability to kind of play around it, which is nice. But there's Fatal Push. That's pretty nice. So I think because we drew the push this turn, I'm pretty happy just to play a Misty, fetch out a Bayou. Means we have all our mana online and just deal with the Mum now. This does open us up to Wasteland, but I think that's okay. Thalia is interesting. I don't think I want to hit Thalia here. I could Brainstorm if I really wanted to. I guess if I want to get down Leovold next turn, I could Brainstorm here to make sure that I hit the mana requirements to cast Leovold next turn. Leovold kind of stops the Thalia from attacking, and unless they have Karakas, which allows us to actually draw a card off the Karakas, they don't really have a great answer for Leo, so... I think I'm okay with Brainstorming here. I know what I want to find, and it's definitely mana. Oko is pretty nice as well. So I actually have the ability here to... I think now I kind of want to force the Thalia and then just play Oko next turn and get Oko online. Oko seems great here as well without a Vial already in play. So I think we'll just put back lands. I'm pretty happy drawing the Verdant as well. So I might go put back Verdant and Island. And then force this, pitching Leo. I wanted to keep the fetch land as well for the Sylvan Library in case they don't have a straight answer for the Oko. So I wanted to draw the island there and not use the fetch land straight away. Yeah, luckily this Abrupt Decay is going to answer a Evoker if they do have one for Oko. I guess something like Mirren Crusader would be pretty rough, especially for this deck, but Recruiter's going to be fine. One thing I can't do next turn is play Library and Abrupt Decay, but I think that's going to be okay. Hey, Wet Fang, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Verdant. So I could deal with the Oko here if I really wanted to make sure they couldn't just Flick Wisp the Recruiter, but seeing they got Revoker, they're probably playing Revoker next turn on Oko, so I think here I might just want to tick up on the food and start attacking. There's probably no real benefit to keeping the Abrupt Decay open here. I'd much rather just keep this, play this Sylvan Library. Just so we get that upkeep trigger next turn, and you know, we still have the Abrupt Decay here. The only reason I'd keep the Abrupt Decay open is if I knew my opponent was going to go Flick Wisp into Recruiter. But Thalia here is going to be fine. Revoker is okay. Ah, the Legacy Prelims in 15? Very cool. Yeah, it's a shame that some of those haven't been firing. Majority have, or been getting very close to just minimum numbers, but I guess that's kind of expected. But yeah, all the best in the Legacy Prelim if it does fire and you do play in it. I do want to fetch here, because I just want to fetch away probably some cards on top if I do hit something like Force of Will. Or pretty close to it. Scoos is interesting because it's another great blocker here. So I might actually put this on top and pay for Scoos. Because I can still play Scoos and also Decay, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to pay 4 for this. Play Verdant. Probably just fetch for basics here. Maybe not. Maybe we were just too far in. I do like just staying on duels here. Go get Trap. Decay, Revoker. Could exchange. That's interesting. I'm just going to create a food token. And then I think it's okay playing the Scavenging Ooze here. I'll just get another black source. I probably want 2 black sources just to play around Wasteland. I don't want to get Wastelanded off Plague Engineer. But I do also want to make sure I can cast this Ooze here, so maybe I'll just go for a Trap. Opponent has 3 unknown cards as well. Silent Clearing, interesting. They're going to draw a card, which is great for us. It means they don't have something like Palace Jailer. They've already played a land for turn as well, so they can't have the mana for it. Oko really nice in this matchup. And obviously just creating a sub-game where they can't really deal with it because of the amount of creatures that we put on the board. So for this matchup, I don't mind Liliana's Fatal Push and Pithing Needle seem pretty good. Force is nice. Force is nice if I can hit a Vial early on, but otherwise I don't really want to be too funning myself in this matchup. So I think I'm happy going out with probably just down to 2 Forces. Are there any other cards that I want to play? Rec Sage is actually pretty nice in this deck. Everything else seems pretty solid. I really like Sylvan Library. If we can create an early board state, then we can make use of Sylvan Library. And even just the Scry ability can be good sometimes. This Force is interesting. Crop rotation is pretty interesting. There is that sort of Christmas land appeal where you can crop rotate away the land they're wastelanding, or you can crop rotate into an early Karakas to keep a Thalia off the board. I think I might keep this. It's kind of nice as well just to have a Force in the deck, so if we do want to brainstorm at one point and try to find a Force of Will, we know we can. But I think this deck doesn't need too many changes post-board, because the amount of cards we have that are actually quite relevant in this matchup is already pretty nice. Hey Craig, welcome. Just let the Cataclysm resolve. Yeah, Cataclysm would be pretty good against us. I think if we see Cataclysm, we can adjust the deck, but hopefully Cataclysm is something we can keep our opponent off. This is an interesting one. This is a really good hand if we do know we're drawing into another land, but we can get kind of stuck. We have some pretty nice pieces of removal. Sylvan Library and Ice-Fang Coatl are going to make us, just keep churning through our deck, which is nice. I think if we kept a 1-lander, this is pretty close to what I would keep. I think the main consideration is that we don't have something like a turn 1 Mana Dork, which would also be quite nice, but... Death and Taxes is, of course, a deck that can really punish you for missing your land drops, so maybe that's the reason why I want to mulligan this hand and just play a little bit safer. We're on the draw, which is quite nice, but I think this hand just folds to us drawing, 2 non-land spells in a row, and playing an 80-card deck that's, something of a high chance. So I'm gonna mull this. As nice as it is, this is a little bit better. I'm gonna keep it, and I think it's just the second Oko here. Everything else is pretty nice. It'll be interesting to see if we draw into another land, just to see how we want to go about our mana over the next couple of turns. Because if they lead here... Okay, they don't lead on anything. Snow-covered forest would be great. Plague Engineer is pretty nice. So I think here we just have to go for Bayou. Is it a Bayou? Maybe it's a Trop. Hey, Echo, thank you very much. This is an interesting one. So if we get a Trop, I guess we can get the blue mana from Noble anyway. So I probably want to get a black source, just in case Noble does get exiled. I then want to have my Fatal Pushes online. So we'll get a Bayou and go for Noble Hierarch. I assume there's a Sword of Plowshares here, with my opponent not keeping her hand with a 1-drop, but it looks like they don't, so pretty nice for us. Even if they have a Thalia here, we have access to Plague Engineer on human, which is pretty nice. Heads up play would be naming the Oko, but I think going after the Hierarch is pretty nice here as well. A 2-drop would be great. Brainstorm's not too bad. But I think here I'm okay with just kind of Fatal Push on Revoker and attack for 1. Could also hold up Brainstorm, but I think this is okay. They named Noble Hierarch, yeah. Which I guess is fine. They're playing the field and they know what they're playing with what they know about, so... I guess I don't want a 6 here because if my opponent plays a Thalia here, I want to return it. Stoneforge is fine. If we draw into a land here, it'd be pretty nice because then we can Oko and Fatal Push. Ugh. Alright. Green Suns. I'm going to Brainstorm first, just to try to find a land. Yikes. I guess we put back Oko and draw Ice-Fang next turn. Hopefully Noble sticks around, or else we have a pretty big problem. At least this Goose can hopefully come down next turn. Could have kept Brainstorm up as well. Oh. Oh, but they don't have another land, do they? Yeah, wow, okay. Interesting. Was there a different line I could have taken? I guess I could have Green Sunned for another creature. Maybe that was better, just a Green Suns for like a Gilded Goose so that Revoker could only name 1. This does mean our opponent gets down Battered Skull, which isn't the biggest issue because we have things like Fatal Push, Oko, Ice-Fang. We just really need to draw into a land pretty soon. Again, don't really want a 6 here in case our opponent does play a legendary creature like Thalia. Yeah, maybe the early Brainstorm was better. It's tough because I would have been in the same situation. I guess I just would have had a little bit more knowledge. Port's pretty good. This is fine. Land? Oof. Could have got a discard as well. I think it's just the second Oko here. Oh yeah, the Green Sun could have shuffled. Yeah, that's correct. Mum's pretty good. So this is 5 damage, we get a 8. Not over, but very close to it. Okay. Got a 7. We will get a Trop. And then Green Suns for Dryad Arbor. Maybe Gilded Goose is better. Gilded Goose allows us to make sure we have black next turn. Maybe Goose is fine. Goose also just means they can't attack with the Stoneforge Mystic unless they find a removal spell for the Gilded Goose. And Plague Engineer deals with the Mum on our turn and then maybe gives us a blocker during their turn. So I think going for black mana is probably the correct play. Tough though. Swords is okay. I guess they now have port, so we can't actually engineer next turn. Even leaving up the mana to cast the food doesn't do anything. Alright. Rough. I don't think there's anything here to change. Spell Pierce is interesting on the play, but I don't think it's going to come up. We could have Spell Pierce instead of Force for turn 1 Vial, but I think running this back is fine. Yeah, I think you're going to run into those issues as well, just with an 80 card deck as well. But yeah, thought we would have been okay. This is an interesting one. I think I'm okay with this. Having all the mana in the world is quite nice. We have a turn 2 Decay into turn 3 Leo. I think Leo is really good in this matchup as well. Decay answers both turn 1 Mum and turn 1 Vial, which is kind of nice. We're also going to be able to pretty much cast anything we draw into right now outside of second Liliana Last Hope. I'm going to keep this. We got this. I like that. Hopefully. What do I lead on? I'm going to lead on the Snow-Covered Swamp. Plains in a Vial. Okay, that's fine. Brainstorm's pretty nice. Just gonna Decay here. No shenanigans. Stoneforge is fine. I wouldn't mind drawing into removal, because then we can remove the Stoneforge and also Wasteland them, but let's see what happens. Trophy. Okay, well that is removal. Maybe the trophy's just better off being held up for the Batterskull. So maybe I don't mind just going for Leo here. It's also counterintuitive giving them a land but wasting them at the same time, so I kind of like just getting out Leovold here. I don't think Batterskull is too much of an issue for a deck that has, you know, Ice-Fang Coatls, Abrupt Decay, Trophy. If they want to hold up their mana for Batterskull, that's more than fine. Yeah, Trophy on Batterskull seems great. But it looks like Judgment. Okay, well that's pretty nice. It's a really clean answer. Green Suns. What do we actually have? Just going for another Leovold doesn't seem too bad. Currently have 2 snow-covered lands. Excavate is interesting, Collector Ouphe is interesting, not the greatest against Batterskull though, so I think here I do just like going for a second Leovold. Unless they have the second Council's Judgment, we at least replace this Leovold, which is nice. It also makes their port plan really a lot worse if they do have a, you know, another land and they just want to port us and hold up Batterskull. Sort of fire nice, okay. I do like double Wasteland here, so I think we might just go Wasteland on port, see them float the mana, put in Batterskull. This is fine. I don't think there's any reason not to just trophy here as opposed to upkeep. Because I'm definitely wastelanding them again. Brainstorm away the second Wasteland. I'm probably definitely attacking because if they got Sword of Fire and Ice, they're probably just attacking into us, so that's okay. Try to find some more gas. Astrolabe's pretty nice because it means we draw into what we play. So I guess we can go put on top. Put on top. Maybe I do want a Wasteland in case they have this the mana to equip the sword, which doesn't really matter with Leovold out. Yeah, I think just because I don't want them to start having much of a clock, I want to keep them off as much mana as possible. Swords is pretty good. So we know we're drawing into Goose, and then we get a free draw off the Astrolabe. I like Wastelanding there as well on the Silent Clearing, because it means that they can't turn it into a spell later down the line. So let's go with Astrolabe first, because if we draw into Oko, that's pretty nice. Ugh. I'm going to play the Misty because I want to keep these for Brainstorm in case we draw it. Yeah, I was really just playing Goose to hopefully eat just one attack of this sort of Fire and Ice, because if they tap out for it, that's fine. And the Goose isn't doing too much else. But now we really need to find something. I could get Dryad Arbor here, but I want... do I want the second black? With Astrolabe, it's a little bit better. I think I might just keep the Misty around anyway for Brainstorm. Noble. Alright. I guess I could have also cast our 4/5 there, but the Sword of Fire and Ice does get through it. So maybe one more turn, and then we'll see what happens. Swords, okay. This is fine. Port's gonna be okay. Wisp. That is fine. Second, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could have got the Dryad, but I also kind of wanted to draw into Yorion, at least have 5 mana for Yorion just to get an extra draw of this Astrolabe, but maybe that's becoming a little bit too late here. Yeah, unfortunately this is just Magic sometimes, but I mean we've had some pretty sweet draws on this channel, so you gotta take the low times with the high times. I probably wanted to block there, but this is okay. I guess we can actually just activate the food here. Take us up to 8. Prelate. Okay. Probably on 1. 2. Okay. Plague. A little bit too slow. We can name Elemental and then get a chump. They have 2 cards left. We go down to 7. I think that's okay. Go for a basic island. If we survive a turn as well, we can reset Plague Engineer on most likely Mystic. I should have actually... I guess it doesn't really matter. I could have kept up the Misty for Dryad Arbor, but I think they would have just ported it before I got to block with it anyway. But there's a few outs here. Flicker Wisp, Swords to Plowshares, Palace Jailer. I guess we go to 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We go to 1 if we lose the Plague Engineer to Swords to Plowshares. Wanted to play a land there? Okay. Interesting just attacking with this. I'm not sure why you... I think you attack with everything because we're definitely blocking this. So you're really getting in 3 free damage if you don't. Mirren. Mirren's going to be pretty hard to deal with, especially with Sword of Fire and Ice. I don't think we have an out to Mirren. I think we literally, maybe Jace bounce, but they have Swords of Plowshares, so yeah, I think this, and there's Jace. A little bit too slow. I literally don't think we have an out. 1, 2, 3. I guess... Yeah, we can't... I guess with the prelate, we can't even brainstorm into Abrupt Decay. What do we have? Nothing. Can't even gain enough life. Because this is 12 damage. I guess we might as well play Jace and see what we can brainstorm into, but I believe we literally have no outs. Yep. Nice, good games. A little bit unfortunate, but that is the way that MTG goes sometimes. I think for the most part, D&T definitely seems like a great matchup. Maybe not great, but I think the deck definitely has, you know, a high number of tools that can deal with creature-based matchups. Things like Fatal Push, Abrupt Decay, Plague Engineer, Ice-Fang Coatl is also quite good, especially when it comes to combat. Yeah, it just didn't come through there. Yeah, I mean, I think if we saw more Mirren Crusader, maybe you would move some amount of removal to, like, Liliana's Edict, which isn't too bad, because if you can deal with the creatures around it, then hopefully you can deal with the Mirren. Toxic Deluge isn't too bad as well. Even something like Dead of Winter is pretty good, but of course, this deck is pretty creature-heavy compared to other decks, so you are going to lose a few of your own creatures to a Dead of Winter most of the time. Yeah, Deluge would be sweet. I think as well, if you're playing Snow Basics, then Dead of Winter also comes up. But yeah, I think maybe one of those two would be pretty sweet in a deck with bug colors, of course. But yeah, Mirren's just traditionally quite a very hard threat to deal with when it comes to bug. Because there's not even there's no creatures that you can just play to block it. Maybe so, like if you're playing like a blue, like a Snapcaster, I guess Snapcaster might buy you a turn, but of course with sort of Fire and Ice, it's pretty brutal. But yeah, always good to see D&T win as well, so can't be too unhappy. Yeah, Mirren seems sweet right now. Yeah, big fan. Especially since Oko got printed, I think that Mirren's been in a really good position. I really like some of the green-white Maverick builds that run Mirren Crusader because you can get it out a turn earlier than most other players. This is pretty nice. I'm going to keep this. One thing it doesn't have is any sort of hard counter magic like Force of Will, but we have all our colors with Astrolabe. We have some shuffle effects with Verdant and Green Suns. Nice, good old James. Okay. Yeah, no companion, interesting. I like it. I'm just gonna go for snow-covered forest here into Astrolabe. I like that he said hello first. That's very cool. Let's hide this for now. Force. Okay, Force is pretty great because if James is on something a little bit risky, then having the Force is really nice. But otherwise, Delver. See, Delver's pretty interesting. I don't really want to force a Delver. We do have like a high number of outs for this in like Fatal Push and Abrupt Decay, so I think I'm happy letting this resolve. I don't really want to 2-form myself so early on. But now the question is, do I want a Wasteland and then maybe Green Suns for Dryad Arbor? Misty. So the one kind of annoying thing about... no, actually, yeah. So I don't mind Wasteland here because we can Wasteland, turn off Daze, Green Suns for Dryad Arbor, untap, play a third land, and then use Astrolabe to make the color requirements for Leovold. And then also have Force to keep it around, which is kind of nice. So let's go for that. There's not really a Green Suns target that stands out in this matchup either. It's not like we have Scrib Ranger or, you know, something else. I think that Dryad Arbor is pretty nice here because we get to obviously hit our opponent's mana. Maybe even trade with the Delver, which would be interesting. I assume it sees a Wasteland or Bolt before this Delver attacks into it. Interesting, okay. I think I'm okay with trading here because we probably lose the game to the Delver being unchecked. We also have 3 mana naturally just to play Leovold, which I kind of like. It also means next turn we can just play Brainstorm with Fetchland up. Oh, we do have Coatl, of course. I was totally not thinking about Ice-Fang Coatl. I'm going to block here. I like trying to keep them off threats as early as possible just to buy some time. Delta, okay. Yeah, I think keeping the Delver deck off a Delver early on is quite nice. Thought Scour, okay. Maybe this is a rug deck playing Hooting Mandrills, and therefore making use of Thought Scour to build their board out early. Which is kind of scary. 2, 4, 5, Ponder, Hooting Mandrill is actually pretty tough for us to deal with outside of a big Scavenging Ooze or Assassin's Trophy. But it looks like just a pass here. So the question is, do I want to Brainstorm here? I kind of want to. I don't want to have both fetches in my hand, and I definitely don't want to draw into another land. So I think I'm okay with Brainstorming here. Just to make sure that we can untap and draw into some pretty good stuff. And, you know, Decay and Trophy are pretty nice here. So I might even just go put on top. put on top. But now I'm not sure if I want to cast the Leovold into Daze mana and also just not have something for the Force of Will. So I think I'm okay with just land pass here, hold up Decay and Trophy. Yeah, I think I like the land go game pretty good. I think our opponent has to kind of be the beatdown in this matchup, so we do get to play the control game for a little bit, which is kind of nice. Opponent also have 7 cards, so James here with a pretty good amount of cards to play around with. Do I want to fetch? I probably want to try to draw into maybe like a Pond or a Brainstorm. So I'm going to fetch here. I'm going to use the Verdant to get a basic Swamp. Unless our opponent has Stifle. Okay. Oh, Tracker's pretty nice. Is Tracker better than Leovold? I don't think so. I guess Tracker's kind of nice because if they try to force it, then we do have Leovold back. So I think that's maybe worth going for. Oh, they do have Stifle. Okay. I was going to play Tracker there, but I think I might just wait. I think we have an abundance of time, which is nice, so... Okay. Goyf. Okay, Goyf's gonna be fine. I wonder if I actually want to use Decay on this and not Trophy. Because maybe I want to keep the Trophy for Hooting Mandrills. James also missed a land there. Ramanap. Happy to run this into a Daze. Because if it lands, then we get to play around Daze for pretty much the rest of the game. Yeah, with the Wasteland as well. There's probably considerations for that being a Force. Especially with Wasteland in the bin, but I don't want to get blown out there. And I don't really want to lose the Leovold to a Force. Yeah, I think like if we thought about that, maybe Force there was just the best play because maybe just having a Wasteland lock is better than having Leovold on the field. Okay, that's pretty good. So I probably just want to play around Daze again. Ooh. I guess I can't play around Stifle and Daze, but that's okay. So we'll play a land. Play Tracker. We can float a blue, then return a land to Daze. And then if we go to fetch, they can, of course, Stifle that. This is going to get forced. Pitching Daze. Interesting. Would I be happy to force back? If they're forcing the tracker, it kind of feels like they don't have an answer for it right now. So maybe it's worth forcing here on the Leo. The only issue that I have forcing on the I guess, okay, so the one thing that I like about Force of Will here is that it most likely gets us a clue if the tracker resolves, which replaces the card loss that we get from Force of Will. But maybe I'm okay with my opponent just two-funding themselves until we can find a card that just wins us the game. Hopefully, like something like Leovold seems great. So the next draw step, I really want a blue spell just to be able to play Leo and then hold up Force of Will. Yeah, Leo, of course, is also quite a nice play because it does replace itself. And it also turns off their Ponders and Brainstorm, so... I wonder if James is playing True Name Nemesis. Okay. Oko's not the worst because we have the trophy, so I think I'm okay with this. The issue with that is that if I play the Leo next turn, I need to draw into a land to be able to trophy the Oko as well. This is tough. Yeah, I think Trophy the Oko is fine. It's just tough when you do have an answer in hand, but also have Force. Astrolabe, okay. Nice. Now if they want to force this, we do have Force and Ponder, which is kind of nice. So the question is, do I want to Ponder? And I think I do. I mean, the huge upside is pondering into another blue card that I can pitch to Force, but also know at the top of my library. And I really just want to ponder into that 5th mana, or maybe something like Ice-Fang Coatl. They might have another Oko. I guess we have been playing time on our side, so yeah, maybe it is worth just holding back Force. The Astrolabes also add up. Once we hit 5 mana, we can just cast our Yorion, which I assume is pretty hard for my opponent to deal with. This is fine. Yeah, I'm definitely a very conservative player, especially when it comes to blue decks, which can come back to bite me, but... Scooze. Scooze is pretty interesting. Especially if we make it a 4/4. I think I like Scooze better than Leo here. If they want to Oko it, it's also a creature with counters on it. So they keep the counters, which is really nice. Doing this now so I can play around Lightning Bolt. No attacks. Fatal Push would be kind of nice. Misty's also interesting. I'm assuming he doesn't attack because he wants to keep the Oko intact. He also has 2 cards. Or they also have 2 cards. So I can attack here because we have enough creatures to keep this alive through a bolt. I guess Brazen Burrow might be a card that we have to think about, but I think this is okay. I don't want to play the Leovold here because I don't want to lose the Ooze, so I think I'm happy just passing. So I think losing this Scooze to Bolt is just something that I can play around, and obviously it's going to be pretty tough for my opponent to deal with outside of having Lightning Bolt. We can also eat their creatures in upkeep to play around Hooting Mandrills from delving them away. James obviously having a pretty good think here. Upkeep, okay. Now we can go after some of these creatures. I'm just going to get Tracker there. It doesn't really matter because there's no creatures left in their graveyard. I guess I could try to eat it to keep Hooting Mandrills off the field, but I think it's okay for now. This also means just holding up 1 green mana on the Scooze. It means that a food and Lightning Bolt doesn't trade with it. I could eat his graveyard here, and it's probably correct to eat graveyard there, but I just want to try to get through this. Wasteland's interesting. I'm going to go with Leovold first. It's going to resolve, play Wasteland, move to combat. Attack Oko. Now I'm pretty happy to take care of their Trop in their turn, or in our turn, sorry. This could be a Stifle, okay. Maybe that's a reason to do it in their upkeep instead. There's, to be fair, no real reason to do it otherwise. Bolt, we can draw. Plague Engineer, okay. That's gonna be fine. Kind of hope James plays like a Delver as like a chump blocker because we have the Plague Engineer to answer that, and then hopefully deal with the Oko. Brainstorm's fine. The one really nice thing about Plague Engineer in this deck is that you can name something, have an effect, and then get it back into play with Yorion and name something else. Maybe I should have fetched in response to that Ponder so I could actually play around Stifle, but I think it's okay. Just little things as well. Like, I probably didn't need to fetch there. It's probably better just to keep it around for Brainstorm and Jace. But I do want to try to get this Screws up to an 8-8 or a 10-10 and deal with the Oko as soon as possible. Hmm. 9. I think there's no more creatures left. Rough. To be fair, I could also just attack them. Maybe that's correct. I'm just going to name Elk with this Plague Engineer. And then hold the land. Sadly can't surprise Arbor because it has died. But I think Yorion might be coming down next turn, to be fair. This looks like a Hooting Mandrills. Opponent has 1 card left, so next turn we can play around Daze, which is really nice. We can play around Force of Will, of course. Force, okay. Just gonna do these 2 Astros. Alright, not the greatest draws, but we'll take them. Okay. So luckily got there in the first game. This is an interesting one as sideboard. Could definitely attack with both. Maybe that was the correct play. I definitely like Fatal Push. Pachuca Bog's interesting, but I don't think it's good enough. Probably take out some number of Force of Will. Push, Veil, Pierce. Crop's interesting. Collector Ouphe is probably one we can take out. Maybe I don't mind Lily as just like an extra way to win the game. Especially in the grindy matchups where it takes a while to win. Fluster's pretty nice in the counter wars as well. Maybe I'd rather Fluster. I guess Storm can be stifled, but I just feel like this is a matchup where I don't want to be too fawning myself with Force too much. So having the Flusterstorm is quite nice because the one thing that Flusterstorm doesn't hit is Oko, which is probably the card that I'm worried about with Force of Will. Yeah, I think Liliana might be just a little bit too meh. See how this goes. I've always wanted to try Flusterstorm in this matchup. But yeah, you do make a good argument that you do want to make sure you have the right card for what you want to counter. Like, I don't want to have Flusterstorm and then find my opponent cast an Oko. See how this goes. We will mulligan this. Some nice cards, but obviously we can't cast them, which is unfortunate. Guess we're going to 5. Alright, we'll keep this. I'm going to bottom the Ramanap. And probably the second mana creature here, but I guess I don't mind both of these. I think it's the Goose. Yeah, Veil's not the greatest. Especially if their removal is things like counter... I guess counter magic is pretty good, but... Like, best case is next turn... Like, turn 1 Hierarch, turn 2 Sylvan Library, hold up Veil of Summer. Hey, DW Donut, welcome. I don't have the ability currently to play it around days. I think I do just want to make sure my mana goes, so maybe it is Veil. At least this means we have removal, we have mana acceleration, and also Sylvan Library as a way to get us back into the game. Trop. Okay, Trop's pretty perfect because it doesn't mean it can't get stifled. Mandrels to the bin, unfortunate. I wonder if he dazes this. And then maybe we follows it up with Wasteland, that'd be pretty good. Yeah. Get a Bayou and cast Gilded Goose. Bolt the bird? No, okay. Uro. I think we kind of just have to go for... We can't play around Spell Pierce, we can't play around Spell Snare, can't play around Daze. This is definitely the biggest upside. The downside is that we lose a food to it, and we can't really back it up with anything. Goif's okay. Wasteland. think I just want to make a food token with Gilded Goose. And play around Stifle. Another Goif is pretty good. Gilded Goose. Well... Wasteland's kind of awkward because I can't cast both Trophy and Veil in the same turn. Highest upside is casting Uro. You can also cast Gilded Goose just to get us out in front a little bit. I mean, if we draw a land off this Uro, if it gets into play, then it's pretty nice. But I think just going down to 5 was a little bit too much for this deck. Goose just a little awkward here, and obviously showing white's just a whole lot worse than Noble Hierarch in certain matchups. But you know, when you do have Oko as well, it's quite amazing how much power this this Goose can produce. But yeah, without the juice, the Goose is not loose. Maybe even playing around with like 4 Nobles and 2 Goose would be kind of cool. Nice. Well, push is a start. But then we're not really doing anything anyway. I think I'd rather do the same time. We're definitely not winning this match, so I might as well try to save as much as my 8 minutes 50. I'm just going to run this back. I could make minor tweaks, I guess, but I think on the play it should be a little bit better. And then also having the hopefully a 7 would be really nice as well. Yeah, pretty tough. I think we really relied on that Sylvan Library to get back into the game, but obviously Spell Snare is really nice on the library. Goose really nice as well when you can deploy something like Oko or Library and then kind of buy yourself enough turns to actually activate Goose to make some food. This is a little bit risky, but I'm going to keep it. And I think we just go Verdant into Astrolabe and try to draw into mana as soon as possible. The huge upside is trying to go turn 1 Dork into turn 2 Leo, but I think here just going turn 1 Ponder is fine. Or turn 1 Astrolabe. So I'm just gonna get Forest here. Nice. I think that Noble, I don't want to get bolted too early on. So I kind of like just making sure that I can play something cantrip and then pass back. And at least here we can now deploy 2 threats. I guess this is going to happen anyway, but you know, now we get to play both Gilded Goose and Noble Hierarch. Look out for snare. I knew. Good times. Brainstorm. Okay. I guess we can play around snare by green sunning for 3, but that doesn't play around days. But maybe green suns for Coatl. I guess green suns for Coatl anyway is playing around days. Because green suns for 1 is snareable, but green suns for 2 is not. But yeah, I think a great way to try to win this matchup is just landing a bunch of threats that replace themselves early on. So things like Ice-Fang Coatl. Leovold's fantastic, of course, because it also disrupts my opponent's ability to brainstorm and ponder. Land's pretty nice. Means we can play around Spell Pierce as well. Guess I could have kept up Ponder as well if I wanted to. Can also Wasteland here, which is pretty good. Does keep my opponent off things like Oko. Maybe Wasteland here is fine because nothing's on the stack, so they can't daze. I can Ponder off Wasteland, that is correct. Flash an Ice-Fang right now. I guess I want to try to play around daze as much as possible. And I don't mind taking off as much mana as possible. Especially where I build out my mana, I want to have some sort of advantage. And I think if I can have an advantage with mana, then that's pretty nice. I think because I can drew the Brainstorm, I kind of want to Ponder now. We've played a land for turn. Jace, Green Sun's Veil. I think putting back Jace, putting back Veil, and then drawing Green Suns is fine. I need those cards that I actually want as well. Maybe I want to kind of draw into hard removal like Abrupt Decay or Fatal Push, so maybe they're things that I don't really want. We already have an Ice-Fang, we know they have Spell Snare. I think we want to shuffle, yeah. Another Ice-Fang, okay, not the worst. Ice-Fangs only get better as well as time goes on because of Yorion. Chose not to shuffle, okay. Fetching, interesting. So maybe they have a play and they're not going to hold up. Well, this could be another Delver. Okay, not the worst. Trophy. Do I want to Brainstorm first? I don't think so. I guess if we Brainstorm into a land, I can kind of play around days this whole turn. Yeah, the extra land would be really nice. Wow, okay. So I think here I was going to put back the Leo and the trophy, then have the push as well. Yeah, I could fetch now. Maybe that's correct. Stifle is one hell of a beast. I kind of hope they find Bolt because then we can fetch to hold up push. Hey, Hypen, thanks for the follow. And it doesn't show. Other person, thank you for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Here's Bolt. We'll just fetch here. I guess we just go for Underground CE. So I can take 6 here and go to 6, or I can Fatal Push. If I Fatal Push here, I'm not playing around days. I think it's better to probably take the 3. Oh, always scary. Yeah, I'm gonna take it. I think throwing that Fatal Push into a daze is just too easy for my opponent. Oof, don't 5. Don't 5. Please don't Wasteland me and lose. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we had to float. Okay. Interesting. Misty, okay. I'm gonna fetch, get down to 5. I'm gonna cast Leo first. Do I actually? No, I can't. Oh, I can. We can go Leo. And then have Goose as a backup. So Goose can just block the Delver, which I don't mind. Playing it safe, I could probably just go for the Ice-Fang and have Veil as well, but I think Leo's pretty good here. Please don't have days. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I think just because as well I have to get a clock going as well, that I guess we can 6 here because it stops for 4 blocks. Ponder's okay, because they can only scry here, they can't actually draw off it. They did pitch Spell Snare. Plague Engineer, okay. I'm gonna go for Ice-Fang first. I could do it in their turn to play around Spell Snare, but I kind of want to see what I draw into. If I can draw into a Wasteland, then I can take them off the trop. Fatal Push. Interesting. Maybe I was supposed to just play the Plague Engineer there so I can start actually just beating down with creatures. I can also cast Yorion next turn, which is very nice. What's the best way to yield here? I believe there's a way that I can... What do they go after? Uro. Okay. So let's go for attack Oko. No cards in hand. And then we can just cast Yorion. Land for turn. Quick, quick, quick. Whew. Okay, well James is just going to concede there. Very nice of James, which is really nice. Don't flicker Ice-Fang? Ah, interesting. Okay, yeah, I guess if time's a consistency, then maybe we keep the Ice-Fang as a 3/3 there. That's yeah, it's pretty interesting. I like that play. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be back in a second. Stick around for game 3. Yeah, really close game. That was pretty sweet. Pretty grindy, which is great because of course Yorion just gets better as the game goes along. But yeah, Ice-Fang there obviously showing its power as well, especially just replacing itself. Kassam. Haven't played a companion yet against the companion deck. Okay, Lurrus, interesting. This is an interesting hand. Kind of go past until turn 3. The one thing that I like about it is that we can just cast anything we draw into. So I don't mind it. I think this is okay. A little bit meh, because we don't really have much to do in the early game, but I think that's fine. Just gonna lead on the fetch land. Maybe I don't want to lead on the fetch land. Maybe I want to lead on the snow-covered forest. And then hold the fetch land up for later on. I guess I'm really just scared of Wasteland, but I'd rather hold the fetch until I really need it. Because to be fair, if I draw into snow-covered swamp and then snow-covered island, I can just cast Leovold and I don't need to use the fetch land. So then if I draw into Brainstorm after, it's kind of awkward if I've already used the fetch land just to get mana. I think Maverick would be pretty fun. It's obviously quite a fair deck, so even without Lurrus, it might not be the best positioned, but I think it's a lot better with Lurrus out of the field, and companions in general. I guess if you really wanted to play Maverick, you probably could, and just increase your amount of maybe up to 2 Scavenging Ooze and 2 Collector Ouphe in the main deck to play around or play against a lot of the companion decks. But yeah, it's tough trying to keep up with the value of Lurrus. That's the big issue. Probably just going for Bayou here. Hopefully they play a turn 2 threat, we can trophy it, and even if it gets countered, we can then untap and play Leovold, which is usually better than, kind of losing the trophy, but, getting a Leovold's pretty nice. This also might look like a Dark Depths deck, so maybe my opponent isn't too inclined to Wasteland us when we have Mana Flag Crop Rotation open. Yorion doesn't give too much away. Yeah, I guess Delta and Bauble don't give too much away about if they're on Grixis, Bug. Could still be on just like a blue-red list. Yeah, Yorion Depths would be interesting. It probably wouldn't. I think Lurrus is probably the better card for Depths, but would be interesting. I guess you get more combo cards. I guess you can play like a really big mid-range deck with like Elvish Reclaimant, other Reliquary, like a green-white Depths that's built out. Oh, I've revealed Yorion? Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I guess, yeah. See what they do with this Ponder. Chose not to shuffle. Okay. So pretty happy here just to untap and play Leo. Noble. Noble's interesting because it gives us the turn to kind of like just keep playing kind of fair, and then so next turn they can cast Lurrus and get back Bauble straight away. So maybe that's what they're looking to do. So maybe it's worth just going for Leo here. Your Trophy Black Source, interesting. Underground Sea is fine. Days. It's okay. So I guess we could have played the Noble out there and like taken a turn to play around Days, but I think this is okay. I guess the scary thing about that is, oof, Inquisition's pretty good here because I'm assuming they just take Leo. They don't really care about anything else. The weird thing about Trophy is that Daze is just so good against Trophy because even if you have the mana to pay, they can just return the land that you're targeting. So if they take Leo, our hand is this. I think just blue card would be great. Also land. Misty. If they're tapping out for Lurrus here, there's probably not a better time to hit it with Trophy just in response to the Mishra's Bauble. Uro, interesting. Uro is pretty good here. Get to draw another card. Can also attack with the Noble, and if they block, we can play the Plague Engineer on Cat, which is pretty funny. I guess that's pretty much a free attack. See if we can deal with the Lurrus that way. I think our best draw is just going for a blue card, because then we can maybe cast the Uro next turn with this fetch land. And then also have Force of Will up. I'm going to assume this is the Dreadhorde Arcanist deck. Might be a Gurmag? I can't have Gurmag. Painful Truths. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder if they play Cling to Dust. That's kind of the reason why I want to get Uro out of the bin as soon as possible. Just to play around that card. Yeah, the Painful Truths makes me think this is more of a control deck than a Delver deck, but could be wrong. Wasteland's fine. I guess it does turn on Daze, which is a little bit annoying on the Uro, but if we draw a land here, we'll be okay. Ponder. Well, still gonna go for Uro. I guess we could just go for Sylvan Library. But Uro just has such a big upside. One, two, three, four, five. Oh, that's close. Still dazable, which is kind of annoying, but not going to be dazed, which is nice. Yeah, I guess, to be fair, I guess Bauble is probably the worst thing they could be doing, and it's still drawing them a card and giving them information about my hand. They knew about it from Inquisition, but now they know about each card that I'm drawing each turn because of Bauble, which is pretty insane. It also means they can set up things like Ponder, Brainstorm, just to kind of know what's on top, and if they want to, you know, Brainstorm or Ponder it away, or... Yeah, I guess, it's tough to understand how powerful Lurrus can be if all you're seeing is Bauble here, which is pretty tough because, like, you know, if I have Fatal Pushes and Abrupt Decay is hitting Dreadhorde Arcanists and then they're coming back each turn, that's when you're like, wow, okay, this is insane because it's getting so much raw power off it. Yeah, it's fair. I think, like, when I first saw Companions in Legacy, I wasn't too afraid of them, but then you play against them and it just gets completely out of hand and pretty quickly as well. And yeah, the ability that you can get from the sideboard when you want it, the ability just to like cast what you want really as soon as possible as well. Maybe just double bolt here? Must be. Alright. I think I'm okay just tapping out for Ooze here. I do want to get something into play. And it means they do have to deal with it before they can start attacking with Lurrus, so... At least they might be playing Snapcaster. That is a way to get back the lightning bolts from the graveyard, but... Otherwise this Scooze might be a little bit harder to beat. To be fair as well, if it gets countered, we are only 2 more cards. Yeah, 2 more cards away from getting this Uro out of the bin again. Which obviously, if my opponent's double bolting it, they don't have great answers to it, which is pretty nice. Force, alright. Ooze and E-Baubles would also be pretty good, I guess. Dreadhorde. Okay, so Dreadhorde is now pretty nice because Plague Engineer has a real target. So I think untap, hopefully find a... Interesting, just going after my mana. But not my black mana, interesting. Going after blue. So I hope they don't draw into Daze, that'd be pretty brutal. Okay, that's pretty good. How much do I want to pay here? Kind of want to pay 8. Go to 6. Is that too low? I think that's okay. I don't really need the Ice-Fang, to be fair. I can keep the Ice-Fang on top and just take 4. Definitely taking these 2. So luckily the bolts don't mean too much because we can turn off the Dreadhorde Arcanist with Plague Engineer by making it a 0-2. So hopefully no Daze here. Okay, so it's a zombie wizard. Is it better to name zombie or wizard? Probably wizard. I'm assuming wizard has more types in the deck, if any. Yeah, if they do have snap. If they try to remove this, then that's a pretty great use of Force of Will. I probably don't care about another threat because of the Ice-Fang Coatl. I probably just care about them trying to remove this Plague Engineer from the field. Luca Boring. That is the big question. It's very interesting. I'm wondering if they're even thinking of like just a Lurrus ban, but I think they have to do kind of a companion ban. This is definitely worth forcing. Yeah, the thing is as well, like in a Lurrus metagame, it's hard to evaluate how good the other companions are because maybe it's the Lurrus decks that are keeping the other companions from actually being really strong. Interesting. I kind of want to pay 4 here. Hey Matsol, welcome. So a second Plague Engineer is quite nice against this board state. Maybe that's better than Coatl. They didn't have days last turn. So maybe I can just get away with Plague Engineer here, go to 5. Put on top. I wonder if they have Key Command. Ugh. Alright, well that's a great reason to keep this. Oh, gotta cast it. Haha. Don't forget that. Zombie. Oh no, wizard. Apologies. I could see them banning only 4 companions. Yeah, Karakas is everywhere, but it's hard to evaluate how good the other companions are without Lurrus in the format, and if people move to the other companions because Lurrus is no longer available. I think the Fox is really good, especially in those like Grim Monolith decks, but maybe that's... yeah. It'd be very interesting. So I definitely very keen to see what happens on Monday. No attacks. Okay, so no removal for my opponent. Just a land. Yeah, this is game 1. Fatal Push, please. Oh, there it is. Put on top, put on top. Probably just do stuff in their turn. I guess if I do something now, I can play around Hardcast Fatal Push. Sorry, Hardcast Force of Will. I think this is okay. Hey, Ilmasuel, I wish I could say your name. A huge thank you for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Yeah, unfortunately, a part of MTGO is playing the clock, and it's definitely something that I don't want to come to, but it is something you have to consider when playing Magic Online, which is pretty tough, because these are 2 very grindy decks, and I find with Yorion decks, you usually do hit time pretty much every game. It's really a case of you losing either very quickly, or you just trying to grind out a win as soon as possible. Yeah, I think Sav commented something regarding Highlander and how they will follow vintage ban lists with Highlander. So I assume if Lurrus goes in vintage, which I assume it 99.9% is, then we most likely won't see it in Highlander. Just a pass, okay. Go for Ice-Fang. If I get hard forced here, I'll be really upset because we obviously could have played around that. Oh, Fatal Push. Do I want to do it now? I guess we can't because of the Lurrus. We do get a fetch land, which is nice. Gilded Goose. Goose is actually pretty nice as well because it can add up. Oh, okay. Let's go for put on top, put on top. Do I want to attack with the Ice-Fang? I think it's a little bit too... No. I'd rather just keep both back, just in case something really weird happens. Cracking food can turn on push, which is really nice. Oh, Snapcaster Mage. Interesting. That's going to be fine. This will trigger the Fatal Push, which is kind of nice. Okay, Bolt. Okay. Delverban. Who would bring up such nonsense? So Bolt here goes after us. Yikes. Alright. That's kind of scary. Fatal Push on that. Well, now we kind of have to deal with the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Kind of rough. It's interesting because usually with streaming, you find that you take a lot of the clock away. So for my opponent to be behind here is pretty nuts. They can play the Snapcaster Mage from the bin, of course. Okay. Well, that is just a win. Rough. So Lurrus there, obviously we just didn't draw into removal for it, and it's just drawing them a bunch of cards, and obviously we've got them a bunch of value, which is pretty tough. Alright, sideboarding is going to be interesting. I don't mind the Lilianas, especially how they play against the Dreadhorde Arcanists. That's really nice. Fatal Push is great. Bojuka Bog and Crop is interesting. I think it's going to be the Force of Negations and Force of Wills that I'm dropping. I don't mind the Veils because they're also playing Hand Disruption. Needle. Needle doesn't do a whole lot, unfortunately. You can name Bauble, but I think we might have better things to do. I think I'd rather just try to deal with Lurrus than trying to deal with Bauble. Because if we play Pithing Needle and name Bauble and they never actually cast Bauble, then we're down a card, which is pretty rough. I don't think I want Collector Ouphe in this matchup. That can definitely come out. Probably just go down on a Force again. I don't mind this. The Triple Veil could be overkill, but we'll see how this plays out. This hand is okay. The one thing that I like about it is that we can really cast anything we draw into. And the Brainstorm is going to be pretty nice as well. So we can go turn 1 Noble Hierarch. I guess turn 1 Goose is actually okay. Because if it gets hit by Bolt, that's fine. Because we have the Hierarch as backup. I kind of like the Goose as bait. I'm going to keep this. It doesn't have much gas, and it really relies on the Brainstorm, so hopefully we don't get hit with something like a turn 1 Inquisition or Thoughtseize, but... Playing a turn 1 Mana Dork might incline my opponent to try to remove the Mana Dork instead of hitting us with something like Inquisition. Hey Rob, welcome. Armor's doing well, thank you. A lot better than before, which is cool. But yeah, it's just on the mend, so can't really do any lifting, but hopefully out in... Green Suns is most likely going for a Leovold down the line. So I don't mind going for... Hierarch, and then probably just second Gilded Goose. We do lose a food, but we get to then play another food with a Gilded Goose, which is okay. I see you traded Knight for Oko. Unfortunately, we did trade away some of our white cards tonight, but we'll be back. We'll be back. Yeah, Green Suns for Excavator could be pretty nice as well, especially if we draw into Wasteland. Arcanist. Okay. Do I want to Brainstorm now? I don't think I do. I think I'm happy just to draw. Jace. Jace is pretty nice. I kind of want to find removal for this first. And I'm probably going to do that better through a Brainstorm than a Green Suns. I don't think Green Suns for Scooze is great here because they can just remove it before going to attacks. Play Jace Bounce. That's interesting. I guess play Jace Bounce is really nice, especially if they lose, if they don't have a backup. I probably want to use the food over the fetch, but because we have Green Suns, I think I am going to use a fetch and keep the food in play. Can also attack for 1 here, which is nice. And then hold up Brainstorm in case they Inquisition. Green Sun Zenith for Questing Beast. Okay, okay. I'm with ya. I'm with ya. That does seem pretty cool. And now you got me really excited. 2 for 5. Yeah, we can Green Suns. I think if we drew into Veil of Summer, that would be like icing on the cake. Pyromancer, interesting. Pyroblast. Can't really do anything there. That's going to be okay. Unfortunately. I'm going to Astrolabe first. Wasteland. I'm just going to go for Leo here. And then maybe next turn we can just cast Yorion. So if they force this, it's not the worst because we do have Yorion coming up. Yeah, I think a 4/5 flyer is fine. We can also get extra food off it, which is quite nice from Gilded Goose. Ponder to start. Okay. Gilded Gooses are kind of nice blockers against the elementals, but I really hope they don't have something like Blazing Volley, which is deal 1 damage to all creatures your opponent controls, which of course would finish off the Goose. Yeah, I mean, if Blast is their last card, then it's going to be very hard to deal with. Interesting. One, two, three, four, five, six. So we can play the Astrolabe and then try to Yorion, but we won't be able to play around days that way. Two, four, six. I guess unless we draw into a land. Yeah, I think this match is definitely turning for us, so we have to be pretty lucky here to try to draw into a land. Oh. I still don't mind. I guess. Yeah. Looks like Blast. Rough. I don't think we have a way out of that. Especially once they start attacking with the Dreadhorde Arcanist as well. It's just not really a spot we can get through. So we're currently 1-2. Rough. Yeah, it would have been sweet to get Yorion to play, but yeah, the second Blast there was really good. Especially the first one dealing with Jace. It's not great tapping out for a 4-mana spell when your opponent has a 1-mana answer. Yeah, I could have kept going, but I think that the odds were pretty slim, especially in an 80 card deck. So that is the first companion deck we've played against, which is cool. James being on Rug Delver with Hooting Mandrills, and the first player... Now I'm trying to think. Death and Taxes. Young Pyromancer is a human wizard, I think. I believe so. Human Shaman, okay. So unfortunately you can't name one creature type with Plague Engineer to hit it and Arcanist. I think it's something to do with companions, and I think it is a banning. But I'm just not sure on what the banning will actually be. But it should be interesting. It should be, for a player like me who likes a lot of fair decks, then it's probably a good thing. Thank you very much. You too. Classic. We'll definitely show Yorion. No companion. And this hand's sweet. We'll keep this. Astrolabe makes it really nice. Yeah, I can't imagine what Lurrus is like in Vintage. I'd love to watch some of the challenges to see how good it is, because of course getting back Lotus every turn is pretty brutal, especially when you can get it back the turn you play it. Insane. Bayou. Oh, Ritual. Okay. Don't have anything. Grizzle. Oh, this is gonna be Tin Fins. Yeah, definitely very close to dead. That's a lot of mana as well. But it will be cool to see what's actually in the deck. I haven't played against Tin Fins in a little while. Green mana. There was... Why is it called Tin Fins? So I believe it's based on some show where like a restaurant was named something. You know what? While my opponent is comboing off, I will find it. Living Wish. C-Lab 2021, that's it. Interesting, so this version is playing Dark Depths. There we go. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for finding it. Tin Fins. Come on now. Yeah, I remember the version that Matt Nass played that was very cool with Dark Depths involved. Spawn, I like that. Very good. Labman, okay. 2 cards left in deck? Nice. So I do like Spell Pierce, Fluster, Crops, and Bogs. I probably want the... I probably don't care about the Veils, right? We can definitely take out the Plague Engineers. I think the Fatal Pushes can come out. Tireless Tracker can come out. Ramanap can most likely come out. Questing Beast is on the fence. Needle naming Grizzlebrand is actually probably a correct move. Can I go down to 60? No, sadly, because the sideboard has to be maximum 15, I believe. You can move your sideboard into your main deck, but you can't move your main deck into your sideboard. I believe. Yeah. Okay. Tin Fins. Tin Fins. This is a different version, but I think we're pretty close to where we want to be. Veils are interesting. Trophies are still nice. Maybe Decays aren't the greatest. I don't believe they play Animate Dead. That's probably like the only realistic target. So probably Veil is just the card that I want. At least it can cycle into a blue card if I need it. I think if they're at the stage to get Maniac into play, then I'm probably losing anyway. We didn't see the Tendrils. I think this... Oh, yeah, I think this is okay. Still have 2 trophies for any sort of removal that we need. A little bit too fair. We can cast everything we have, but probably want to mulligan to a Force of Will hand. Oof. Still like another great hand, but just too fair for this matchup. I mean, if we have time to set up Sylvan Library, then we're probably winning that game anyway. I don't think we have the luxury of keeping a hand that can, you know, put itself together over multiple turns. I'm going to keep this, just because it has a crop. So I'm going to bottom... How many lands do they usually play? Definitely a snow-covered forest. And probably just Wasteland, because then we can still cast the Ice-Fang. So the question is, do I want to lead on Crop or Brainstorm? I think I don't mind just playing the Verdant because it can get Trop, which can get both. Is Zerta the fox that makes activated abilities cost less? Yeah, I think it's absurd. I think under the right pilot, like I know XJ Cloud has been doing a lot of really good work with it. I wonder if they play Unburial Rites. Because then you can just sack the LED. Oh, nothing. Interesting. Alright. We will take a draw. Delta. Probably just want to play Delta here. I guess there's a reason not to play Delta, because if they do nothing again, we can just go for Ice-Fang Coatl and still hold up a fetch land for Brainstorm, so it's probably wrong not to just play the forest there. But yeah, Zerta seems really sweet to play around. I do like that those decks can't play Chalice and have to kind of rely on different ways to look out your opponent, but, you know, Trinisphere is kind of just the same. I guess Trinisphere can't be played either. Okay, well, I guess you have Khan and sideboard cards. I guess you can sideboard. Can you still sideboard? Yeah, you can still sideboard Chalice and Trinisphere if you really want to. Ritual's okay. I guess if they Thoughtseize us, I kind of have to Brainstorm, hopefully into a Force. Hexmage. Interesting. That's going to be fine. Because even if they have Dark Depths here, we can Crop Rotate into Wasteland. So this is going to be fine. Entomb. Okay. Oh, Crop Rotate and Karakas as well. Yeah, that's very true. Especially because it hits Grizzlebrand as well. So I probably just want to go for Ice-Fang here, to be fair. I probably don't care about Death Touch right now. Just going to get another basic island because we have so many in the deck. Jace. Alright. Oh, Flusterstorm. Nice. Okay. Now we're talking. Could attack if I really wanted to. Maybe it's correct to get the clock going, but I think it also shows us that maybe we don't have an out in our hand that we want to use. Strong plays, no attacks. Probably should have seen that coming. Exhume. Probably pretty happy to fluster this to see if they want to LED first. I could also go for crop rotation into Bojuka Bog, but that stops me from being able to crop rotate into Karakas. Brainstorm to increase storm count. That's interesting as well. 1, 2, Flusterstorm, 4. Leo's pretty good as well. So let's go put on top. Put on top. Do I want the fetch land? No, I probably actually want put on top and then the fetch on top. This attack's pretty funny because it obviously means we have an answer for the Dark Depths. Or we just don't, but we're acting like we do. Yeah, big brain time. I would love it if we didn't have the crop rotation and we actually just made that play anyway. That would be pretty funny. Jace not the greatest in this matchup. Most likely and hopefully something like Force of Will or Force of Negation will be able to exile it. Hexmage, of course, just a really nice answer to Jace as well. Opponent with 2 cards in hand. Interesting. I've always been a massive fan of Rite of Consumption. Shallow Grave. Gains haste. Alright. That's fine. They're going to try to draw 7, but we have Leovold in play. Come on now. Come on now. This is not how Magic works sometimes. Come on now. Oh, unless they have another... Like, is there something else that they can do? Let me do a Grizzlebrand. Definitely just cropping here. Probably just cropping away the trop. Maybe there's reason just to get rid of the snow covered. Even though it makes Ice-Fang a little bit worse, I think that's okay. Karakas. If only Leovold was an ocean thief. Styfro Dreams? Yeah, 100%. Alright. Oh, Oko's pretty nice. Huh. I guess we just attack with both creatures, right? Just keep beat down on. Yeah, Oko sadly does nothing other than make... Actually, Oko is interesting because it does make the Ice-Fang a 3/3, which I think is probably the best thing we can do. Because it just makes lethal next turn. Ooh, Living Wish. Creature or land. Ah, okay, so they can go and get... We do have Jace bounce, but if they get Wasteland and deal with the Karakas, then we have to draw into a land. Oh, okay, and now we don't have a blocker in Ice-Fang Coatl. Interesting. Interesting. We do get to get an extra draw, which is nice. Brainstorm, alright. This is gonna work. We can force the play, which is nice. Because we can just attack for lethal and see what happens. It really depends on if we draw a land here. That's pretty huge. Ooh, Green Suns. Okay, Green Suns isn't the worst because we get to get through Dark Depths anyway. Yeah. So the Vampire Hexmage can either deal with the Oko or deal with make the Dark Depths of 2020. So here if we attack for 6, they have to obviously make the 2020 to block one of these. Good block. It's probably in our best interest just to... Oh, Veil? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Classic. Okay, I guess we Brainstorm in response. No, actually, we can just Green Suns for Ice-Fang Coatl. I think that's okay. Yeah, Green Suns for Snake is fine. I can also Green Suns for... I can also Green Suns for... just Gilded Goose and then hold up Brainstorm. Which I think might be a little bit better. Because then we also get the food token as a 3/3 next turn with the Oko, so then we have lethal either way. So I think it's better just to get Gilded Goose here. And this means we can still Brainstorm into either Force of Will or Force of Negation if everything goes wrong. Because sadly the Death Touch doesn't mean too much. Are we moving to game 3? I would love to move to game 3. Exhume? Yeah, Exhume would be pretty good. I guess I'd probably have to Brainstorm in response to that. We do get Leo back, which is pretty nice. Boarding. Do we want to change anything? And I don't think we do. I think I'm pretty happy with where we are. We want to cut 20 cards? We do want to cut 20 cards. That's a good one. But yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, like, Tin Fins is obviously a very fast combo deck, which can lead to some pretty non-fun games if you just don't have, you know, Force of Will or some sort of check on turn 1. But I think when the decks get grindy, that's when it's really fun, because your opponent still has a lot of combo pieces that can kind of win out of nowhere. This is nice because we have Karakas, we have Force, and also Crop, so I'm pretty happy to keep this. What land do we play? I think I go with the Polluted Delta. It depends on what they do turn 1, but Delta means we have crop rotation open, which is kind of nice. Wasteland. I think it just has to be crop. I think just holding up crop rotation is pretty good, especially if our opponent goes into, like, tries to go for a Exhume or other type of spell. We can hopefully just crop rotate into BUG for it instead of using the Force of Negation. I'd like to keep the Force of Negation in hand for as long as I can. Maybe even getting to a stage where I can just hardcast it on turn 3. Yeah, I think I would really have to have a really good reason to play Karakas. Just because if we play Karakas and then they go off where we could have used Crop, it'd be a massive feel bad. So keeping my options open with Crop rotation just seemed like the best bet here. Ooh, Swamp. Okay. Blue card, please, and we can ponder? Crop rotation. Okay. I could just waste them, and I probably should have just wasted them, to be fair. I guess we can still Wasteland them with crop rotation, but I think, yeah, Wasteland there is pretty good. I could ponder, but I don't want to ponder and not find a blue card for Force Negation. Stage, okay. Interesting. Looks like they're just going to pass back. The one thing about playing Wasteland that turn is that we could have played Karakas this turn, which is nice. Yeah, I think Wasteland now, but don't do anything because they can just Dark Ritual into the combo. So I think Wasteland here is fine. Yeah, I don't mind Wasteland them on upkeep either. Also, forcing the ritual means they can't use that extra mana other than at instant speed. So here I want to go for... I probably want to go for the Dark Depths, because if I go for the stage, they can just copy the basic swamp or the snow-covered island to keep the stage. So I think just Wasteland on Dark Depths here is fine. And during the Jace actually means I could have pondered last turn, which is kind of annoying. It's definitely a misplay. Ritual here is going to be fine. We can just Karakas the 2020, which is really nice because it takes him off a land. It takes him off a ritual. And of course, Karakas can't be stopped with something like... in the odd world where they play Not of This World, which I don't think they do, and I don't think they ever would, but if they do play Not of This World, I should probably Karakas in their upkeep. Just so if they do, we can force a negation it. I mean, we can Karakas during our turn, but there's really no reason not to do it in their upkeep. Just to play around one fringe card. I could have also pondered. Probably a misplay there. They're gonna fetch. Bayou. Living Wish. I think this is okay. They're probably just getting... I don't really know. They're probably getting something that we can counter or deal with Jace or Scooz anyway. Yeah, probably Wasteland for Karakas. I probably want to ponder here, but I'm not sure if I want to fetch beforehand. I probably do, but the thing is I don't know what I want to fetch for. Maybe a Bayou? But then it means we can't keep open Flusterstorm if we hit that. I think I might ponder first. Needle's pretty nice. It does stop Grizzlebrand, but we have the Leovold for that, so I don't mind. Draw the Misty. Play Misty. And just pass here with crop rotation open for a shuffle. Could also crop now if I want and hit Wasteland, which I don't mind. So if I crop here for Wasteland, I probably want to use Green Suns here as well to get a Bayou and then Dryad Arbor, just to make sure that the following turn I can cast Leovold even if we don't draw into a land. Oh, we're at our end step? Oh, rough. Rough. Well, then I think Leovold's just a little bit better here than Wasteland. Just to make sure that we have the mana around. The nice thing as well is that we can just hold up crop rotation for BUG as well, if that's what my opponent wants to do. But it's just going to be a pass. So now I really hope to draw a land. Brainstorm. Not the worst. Nice, okay. Let's put back Underground Sea and a crop. I guess one crop for Bog and one crop for Wasteland isn't the worst. Or just Leo. I think keeping Leo is actually pretty good. Labe sucks. Labe at least replaces itself, which is kind of nice. We haven't played a land though, so we can tap out for Leovold. Did we we did take out Ramanap. I think it's probably Ooze. Play Polluted Delta. I do want to get a Underground Sea. Noble. It's probably worth playing the Noble here. Yeah, Ooze is pretty nice. The reason I put it back is that we can find it with Green Suns. But at least here... yeah, we can play Noble Hierarch and then also hold up Astrolabe for crop rotation. Leo would be nice. I just don't want to get in a situation where I can't hold up crop. Just because of how valuable it is at instant speed, especially with BUG. But at least next time we get to untap, play Leo, attack with Noble, hold up crop, hold up force with Jace. Dark Depths is okay. Because we still have Wasteland in the deck, which we can get if they play Hexmage here, and then try to target the Dark Depths. Okay. Brainstorm. Definitely not attacking with the Noble, so I don't mind using it here. Play Leo. And pass. Yeah, Hexmage with First Strike means that Noble Hierarch is not attacking. But at least the Leovold as a 3/3 does keep the Vampire Hexmage from attacking, which is a pretty small thing in regards to how the deck works, but it is quite nice to keep the Vampire Hexmage at bay for now. That's going to be okay. Maybe getting another Wasteland? Or their own Karakas? Dark Depths. Huh. But they're legendary. Huh. Okay. Putting one in the bin. Why would they want to put one in the bin? Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a punt or if they were trying to set up something. Oko's pretty nice. Might as well attack first and see what they do. Now I might just go for Green Suns for Scavenging Ooze. And still hold up double Crop Rotate. I could definitely Elk Hexmage as well to try to force the play. But I think this is fine. Scrubland. White mana. If I really wanted to, I could crop for Dryad Arbor and then crop for Wasteland. No, I couldn't. I think we just let this slide. Ooze doesn't have a target currently. It's only lands in the graveyard and instants and sorceries. Questing Beast. Okay, that kind of changes things a little bit. Is that too risky? Is there anything I need to look out for here? Maybe if they have like another way to do Dark Depths? I can just attack for 5 here. Can also Brainstorm first. Most likely find a fetch land. Close. Gonna play it a little bit safe. Yeah, I was going to Green Suns here for an Ice-Fang Coatl, just in case they have some weird way of getting Dark Depths into play. I want to have at least a blocker. Oh, Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is going to be okay. I could Force Negation if I really wanted to. We draw a card first. Force, okay. I think that's fine, really. I mean, we have 2 forces, we have 2 crops. I think just letting this slide is fine. Take a crop, that's fine. Child is fine. Interesting. If I draw into an exalted creature, I win. Veil. Actually, what if I just attack with everything? No, because I can block Leovold and Scooze. We don't have an exalted land, unfortunately. That's okay. Gutshot would be very cool for the win. I wonder if that means they have to child this turn. Just a fog? Yeah. We don't have a Gutshot land, unfortunately. I wonder if that would be okay. Living Wish. Huh. Okay. If they get another child here and then tap out for it, that's probably okay. Because we can just... Thespian Stage. Okay. This is fine as well. I could also just crop here for Wasteland. Doesn't really matter. I guess it gives us the most amount of knowledge. If they get that token, that's fine, because we have Jace Bounce, we have Oko as well, and then we also have Force of Will. So if they use their mana this turn, there's no way they can actually have mana next turn. So they're gonna sack, that's fine. Maybe the play isn't Verdant here. Maybe it is just going for a forest. Okay. Make a green. Make a green. Eat child. Eat Hexmage. Another Ice-Fang's pretty cool. I mean, they can block Scoos, but then they still take 8. They can block Questing Beast, but then they still take 8. Whew. It's pretty tough once you get so many options going. That's when it really hurts. But 2-2 going to the last, so not too bad. Yeah, we had a few things there. We could Jace bounce, we could just actually swing as well, and it wouldn't matter, because either side of the blocks was just lethal, which is kind of nice. The white kind of threw me. I wasn't sure if they had something spicy, but obviously didn't, so. 76 viewers, very cool. Welcome everyone. A huge thank you for tuning in. I'll probably be back on Friday night, so in 2 nights time, I'll be back the same time, and then on Sunday, I'll probably just play this again, because it would be kind of sad to see Yorion get banned in Legacy. I think adding the 20 cards is a fine kind of power for, like... I think Yorion is probably one of the more fairer companions when it comes to deck building considerations. Hey, Rescue. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Bauble, okay. Mystic Sanctuary, okay. Mystic Sanctuary coming in tapped is pretty nice for us. I think I just want to Wasteland that, to be fair. I think just because we have so much mana as well, I'm happy just trying to put them behind a little bit. Yeah, Miracles is going to be tough. I think Green Suns for Leovold is obviously going to be probably the best Green Suns target. Collector Ouphe might do a whole lot, but with Bauble in the deck, it might be okay. I guess also if they run out Astrolabes and we haven't hit them yet, it's pretty good for us. Speaking of. Okay. Yeah, Planeswalkers also seem like a great route to victory. Tireless Tracker seems insane, so that's a great reason to keep this Polluted Delta around for now. The nice thing is as well that our mana worked out pretty well, that we don't really have to rely on the Astrolabe for any colors, so I don't mind just probably... I guess I could just hold up Ice-Fang next turn instead of playing Ouphe. They may not play Astrolabe. Ah, interesting, okay. What sort of permanents does this deck usually play? I guess you can still play Counterbalance, which is nice. You can still play... Counterbalance, okay. Luris Snap. Probably just Underground Sea Pass. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Entreat seems pretty insane as well. It's a pretty cool card. In response to Counterbalance, we'll definitely go for Ice-Fang. Nice. Verdant, okay. I wonder if here I just want to play out the Collector Ouphe next turn, because it does stop Bauble, so it is something they have to kind of answer. Trophy. Definitely attack first. I like keeping Trophy around for now, especially as a way to kill Luris. I don't think I'm going to be able to use all these fetches with Tireless Tracker, so I think it's okay probably just playing out one now, getting a basic and playing around back to basics, which actually isn't a card that they can play. Apologies, they can't play back to basics. I don't have to worry about back to basics. So it's just going to be Bayou. Will they try to blind? Karakas. Okay. Yeah, Trophy's pretty nice, because it can hit lands, of course, which, if the Karakas is a reason, or is a card that I really want to deal with, then that's going to be interesting. Swords is fine. Yeah, the one reason that I really like Tireless Tracker as a threat against decks like Miracles is that you can get value off it other than just attacking. So a card like Neither Reliquary is pretty rough to try to get value off over time, but Tracker at least draws you cards. It does a whole bunch of stuff. With my opponent tapped out here, it's probably a great time to try to land this Tracker. I mean, Abrupt Decay seems great in this matchup as well. Trophy on Lurrus is also pretty interesting. Yeah, maybe Trophy here is just better. Especially if my opponent isn't ready for it. Flooded Strand on top. Okay, so that actually kills it. They probably have, yeah, Savine's Reclamation down the line to get it back. Definitely in a position just to hardcast Force as well. Snow. Kind of nice that Collector Ouphe is off the field because it means that we can actually crack these clues if Tireless Tracker resolves. I'm going to assume this might cause my opponent to do something like Brainstorm. Snap on top. Okay. What's good to know about? Verdant Tracker. So this Tracker is going to be a draw 3, which is pretty nice. If we play it right, our opponent can respond to one of the first fetch lands with like Snapcaster on Swords to Plowshares. They can't really flip 3 drops. Yeah, that's true. I guess outside of Entreat. Upkeep I'm going to fetch. They haven't drawn the Snap yet. Okay, now I'm happy to Delta. I'm going to go for a Island. Entreat 2 Force and Sev. Okay. Hey Min, welcome. Hope you're well. Just going to get a Swamp. They may have Force of Negation if they're playing Astrolabe. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay. Definitely draw here. Hopefully not a land. Oko's pretty good. Okay. So, I think we might use the Green Suns as bait. If we're using Green Suns as bait, what are we Green Sunning for? I guess we can definitely attack first. Hey, well, yeah, GG's. It was a very interesting game 1 to see the deck go off, which is very cool, but yeah, luckily drew pretty well in games 2 and 3 just to have a few few too many answers for the ways that you could win, but yeah, I think pretty close. Like one or two cards different in my hand, and it's a whole different game. I'm definitely trying to get Oko on the field this turn. Let's be honest. So we can Green Suns for 2. Let's do that. Force on top. Okay. They could think we're like, you know, a Gadok Teague deck. So this Green Suns for 2 could be worth considering to counter. They most likely know we're bugged by now, but you know, Green Suns for 2 can be pretty brutal. Huh. Well then maybe it's just Skoos here. We know they have Snapcaster Mage, so I think Skoos is fine. Because now we can play the Snow-Covered Forest, have 2 green sources with Astrolabe up. Are they now casting? Okay, now casting Predict. Okay. My goal was Oko, but I guess because the Skoos resolved, I'd rather just put him in a position where maybe they have to tap out to deal with the Snapcaster Mage, or... Okay, interesting. Snap target. Brainstorm. Pretty happy just to eat this. Maybe is there a reason why I want to use the Astrolabe? Just in case there's some reason for it. I don't think there is. I don't believe they can respond to Astrolabe making mana. I think it's still just a mana ability. Cool. Bauble's fine. Yeah, I wonder if they... I guess we will find out here, perhaps. Terminus. Well, I think here I'm definitely happy to at least eat the Lurrus from the bin. Just to take Reclamation off the board. And then this is going to be fine. Now they have Counterspell Magic up. Counterspell Mana, sorry. But only 2 cards in hand. That was an interesting Terminus, because I don't think they were under too much pressure. I guess Skoos does, you know, kind of eat away at their graveyard, but it's not the most appealing graveyard right now. I mean, if I was Skoos and I was hungry, I wouldn't really say that it was like, you know, top of the menu. If that's a thing to consider. Yeah, I think Oko here is perfect. I might just want to play the Astrolabe first. Maximize the knowledge of what we have in hand. It also tells us what's on top with Counterbalance. Flooded Strand, okay. Counterbalance hasn't hit anything yet, which is quite good. Misty. Play a land. Play Oko. Crack the Clue? Yeah, I could have cracked the Clue as well. I'll probably crack the Clue here. I don't want to play the Playing Engineer unless I know what I want to name. I don't want to blind it. Questing Beast. Nice, okay. Well, at least Beast is like a real thing to deal with. Yeah, unfortunately Angels is a pretty great way to win. Because we don't have too many outs to it. I guess Plague Engineer can buy us some time, but with this much mana already in play, it's going to be pretty tough. Angels are sweet win con. I'm a big fan of Entreat the Angels. I mean, it does take a bit of time to set it up. It is quite annoying when they get the Ramanap. Ramanap Wasteland's actually quite nice. I think that's probably better to put out than just the Questing Beast. I'd rather this get countered than the Questing Beast. Like, I think Wasteland's fine here because they do have 3 drops, but I think if Entreat's going to be the win con, the 3 islands and the 2 plains are most likely going to do it. Well, might as well. Yeah, I think I want to keep the Questing Beast in hand for as long as possible, because there might be a draw where I get Karakas and just can pretty much keep it at bay. Let's go for Wizard. I think Wizard is best. Probably doesn't matter. Wizard or human. Yeah, I'm going to assume that creatures are Snapcaster Mage. I guess, like, maybe I should have just named Angel if I'm really scared of Entreat. Ponder's okay, we'll see what it does. I do also have this Misty for Dryad Arbor, but I think I might keep that around for as long as I can. So they shuffled with the first Ponder, and now they played an island and then did second. So I assume they have another Mystic Sanctuary. They don't just have the one. Is this a Terminus? Okay, that's fine. Well, now's a pretty good time to bring out this Misty. Bring out this this Dryad Arbor. One card left in opponent's hand. Brainstorm. I think I'd rather Questing Beast first, because I don't want to throw the Brainstorm into a 1 mana drop, so I'd rather see what's on top with Questing Beast first. Surely this can't be counted. Predict. Okay, cool. So 2-drop. There's no reason to Brainstorm now. We might as well... Oh, no. We should have Brainstormed first, because then we know what if we want to attack with the Dryad Arbor or not. That was a misplay. I think I'm okay with just attacking with Questing Beast, and then hopefully it paying off with this Brainstorm. Oko one time. Ooh, okay. Don't really want the push. Don't really want the snow-covered island. Probably want to play the Misty so we get a fetch here. Yeah, Force isn't too bad. They drew the Predict. Upkeep, fetch. Doesn't really matter what we get. Might as well just get another forest. Island. I do like island, actually. It means we can hold up Force and also draw into a 1 blue source creature. I think it's worth attacking with both here. Especially seeing our hand. Alright, go to 3. Wasteland. Go after a Tundra. I guess we could do it in their turn. That's probably sloppy not to do it. They're going to float a white. Interesting. If this is a Swords to Plowshares, I probably want to counter it with the Force Negation. Okay, nothing. Predict. Yeah, I think this force is going to be countering a threat or a removal spell, not so much a way to get there like Predict or Ponder or Brainstorm. Astrolabe's fine. Brainstorm's okay. I'd hate to force it and then find out it's a bait and they have removal. I think I'm okay with playing Ice-Fang here. Because if they have removal for the Questing Beast, I want to attack them for 2 so that it turns off fetches. Chose not to counter. Okay. Leo. I mean, like a force here would be pretty insane. Snap. Okay. And they're going to try to go for Swords to Plowshares. Okay. Well, I mean, Oko just changes it, right? I guess we can just play Oko here. And then also hold up Force of Negation for the swords. Play Leovold first. Yeah, I guess that does mean that we... So I guess the reason not to play Leovold first is if we cast Oko and they counter it, worst case, we still have great attacks because they don't have a counter for the Swords to Plowshares, for the Force Negation on Swords to Plowshares. Yeah, I think just because Oko kills them, that it's worth playing Oko first. Chose not to use. Tick up on Astrolabe. Attack with everything. If they have Terminus, it doesn't really matter. I guess it's annoying, but then we just have Astrolabe the next turn anyway. So I think it's worth trying to force this. I don't want to give them the extra draw of drawing into Entreat. They have another swords, okay. Yeah, I think Entreat is the big card that I'm scared about. Yeah, luckily for us, Oko there was just great because even if they Terminus, we still have a way to win that game with them at 3 life. So this is an interesting one. It's weird because the removal seems great against Lurrus, but outside of Lurrus, it's not the greatest. I do like Sage. Maybe not. Did they play EE? Yeah, I think pushes might sadly just be a little bit too Yeah, just a little bit too narrow. All the counters. Yeah, Flusterstorm seems great. Spell Pierce seems great. Veil's interesting. All forces are pretty interesting. I think all forces are fine. I don't mind Rec Sage as just a Green Sun's target. It's probably better than Collector Ouphe. Uro is interesting. Not the greatest in a deck with Terminus and Sword to Plowshares. Maybe Uro's where I don't want to be. It could even be something like a Wasteland. Trim Force of Negation. Yeah, Veils are pretty nice as well. Just trying to get stuff down that can't be countered. So maybe that's just a 2-2 split there. And then maybe Uro is going to the bin. I think this is fine. Yeah, Engineer is an interesting one. Trade Engineer for Lily. Yeah, I actually really like that. I think that's really good. Especially because it really demands an answer. And it's just a different way to attack the battlefield, because of course Terminus is pretty good, and probably Supreme Verdict as well. So having a threat that doesn't get hit by a board wipe is really nice. All sorts of Plowshares. This hand really relies on the tracker. I think this is maybe a mulligan. I guess the early game isn't really what my opponent is trying to take over. But yeah, trimming Mana Dork seems correct as well. I don't mind trimming the goose, or the geese, because of, yeah, they just get a little bit worse. Yeah. To be fair, I don't have too much to do in the early game anyway, other than Mana Dorks. And this hand is a hand that it can just draw into any spell and cast it, which is nice. Opponent went down to 5. Sylvan Library is a pretty nice pickup, will not lie. Hopefully see a shuffle from my opponent. Chose not to shuffle, okay. Astrolabe, interesting. I think I'm happy just playing Sylvan Library here. Fetch could be for Spell Pierce or Spell Snare? Spell Snare, okay. Just 2 lands for my opponent, which is kind of nice for us. Brainstorm. I kind of hope to hit another land that isn't a fetch land. Okay. I think it's greedy to hit this with a force. I'd rather keep the force for my tracker. Because I don't think trying to force my opponent into missing land drops is going to win me the game. The tracker is going to win me the game. My opponent's obviously going to draw into land sooner or later. But there's probably a consideration, especially since they're not on white mana yet. Brainstorm. Spell Snare is really nice. I'm a huge fan of it. Just a pass, okay. Tracker's really nice. I think Tracker's probably one of my favorite designs over the past like 5 years. This and Elvish Reclaimer. I think Elvish Reclaimer is a very cool design. Ramanup's interesting. I could cast Ramanup to get the land from the Verdant, from the graveyard, which I think is okay. If I get Terminus, it's not the worst. We do have the Force. Counterspell's okay. Green White Company, very cool. Did you play Green White Company with the combo or Green White Company with like Value Town, like Nada Reliquary, Tracker, Azusa? I think trying to protect this Tracker is probably okay. I could fetch here to draw a card, but if they have another removal spell, I probably just want to untap here, to be fair. I think being patient is probably the best. Snap. Is there a reason to brainstorm in response? Can't really counter it. It's gonna be fine. Probably just want to brainstorm in response to the Flooded Strand fetch. Spell Pierce would be great. Goose, Abrupt Decay, okay. Put on top. Do I want a Goose? Probably not. Hey, Matt. Yeah, I apologize. Flooded Strand resolves. I think here I might just play the Yorion, to be fair. Let's fetch first. So really I shouldn't have flooded the mana, because now if they swords the Tracker in response anyway. Yeah, so can I untap? I can't untap. Rough. Oh. I'm gonna fetch because I don't want to draw what's on top. What a cluster stack. Okay, let's get a drop. Yeah, fetch first for sure. Brainstorm's nice. Get a clue. Gain 5. Ice-Fang's pretty nice because it does replace itself as well. Underground Sea. Lurrus is fine. That makes me think they have a bauble. Huh, okay. Yorion's been pretty sweet. To be fair, with companions in general, I haven't had much play with them, so I do just forget them sometimes. But I do think that Yorion is worth it. I think it's got that sort of perfect balance between deck building constraints, but also value of Yorion. I have tried out builds that tried to fit in the abundant growths as well as extra ETB effects, but I just found it wasn't really worth it. Just a blue makes me just want to decay this right now. I can decay, then Scooze eat it. I don't mind that. Could also just go for Leovold here, to be fair. I think that's probably correct. Force. Okay. That's fine. Why not Force Strix? I guess you... I wonder if the... I think the deck creator is still in chat. But I think you just get to a stage where you have too much fluff and not enough action. So that definitely might be the case. The big uptick of Ice-Fang as well is just because it's also something that you can do with... You can find with Green Sun Zenith, which is pretty good. So yeah, I think it's about finding the right balance between filler cards and just actual threats. If you want Dirtling, tune into Anzi. Yeah, Anzi loves the grind, let's be fair. Opponent with 0 cards in hand. Interesting. Oh, so I can actually cast Ice-Fang and also cast Yorion and then draw 2 more cards off the Astrolabes. That's pretty insane. I guess they get to draw 1 card, okay. Last Hope. Well, that's pretty nice. Yeah, Yorion's gonna... sorry, Liliana's gonna be pretty rough for my opponent to beat. I'm gonna cast Ice-Fang in response to Counterbalance. Get to draw a card. Oof. Classic. To be fair, I think I'm happy just allowing this Snapcaster through because I want the extra draw off Yorion, and it's not killing the Liliana anyway. Delta. Alright. Tick up. We can attack. I guess I can Rec Sage first, just in case my opponent has Force of Will on top of the library. If they show Force of Will... Entreat. Ooh, okay. That actually counted as well. Rough. Interesting. Does that make me want to Brainstorm? How do I want to do this? I guess we could Brainstorm into Force and... No, we can't Brainstorm into Force and Negation. Yikes. I guess we just go for Yorion. You need to find Force. I didn't draw off the clue because I believe I only had one mana open, but if I didn't, I then just forgot about it, which is pretty bad. All right, let's go for Yorion, because if we draw as well as we have drawn so far, we're going to draw that Force of Will. This. All right. Treat me well. Hiya! Hiya! Oh, we don't have the mana for it. Classic. That's okay. So they only get 3? I believe? So we do have some nice outs. Okay. Not too bad with how we're currently looking. Leo. Definitely tick up. Yeah, I think Green Suns is okay. Brainstorm. All right. Get another Ice-Fang. Wasteland. Probably worth playing out. It does keep them off double white, which is interesting. We also have 5 minutes, so we gotta play pretty fast here. No great attacks, so I'm happy just to hold back on this Liliana. Brainstorm's fine. Brainstorm is literally just put 2 cards back on top. Draw with clue. Verdant. Trophy, interesting. It deals with 1. Astrolabe on top, okay. I can probably just attack with the Leovold if I wanted to, but maybe that's just a little bit too clunky. We know about Astrolabe on top. Tick up. No great attacks. Good attack with Yorion. Okay. Attack with a snake is free, that's very correct. And definitely what I should have done. So we know they draw Astrolabe. Kind of just want to get Dryad Arbor here. Ah, I wanted to Brainstorm first. Meh, that's fine. At least now we can just attack with the... We can tick up with Liliana and then attack pretty easily. Gilded Goose. Yeah, I definitely should have kept that fetch land around for Brainstorm, or just Brainstormed first. So now I actually just don't mind attacking with 3. Play the Goose to see what's on top. Mystic Sanctuary, okay, interesting. So now I don't mind just brainstorming to try to find some more threats. Oh, we don't know Astrolabe because they shuffled off the trophy. Very nice pickup, thank you. Okay, put on top, put on top. Play this. Probably just... Mystic Sanctuary, interesting. I think this is fine, just swarm them with threats. Yeah, nice, okay. What is this? I'm sure there was a cleaner way to finish that game, but once the timer hits red, I usually get a little bit, yeah, a little bit tight. But yeah, the deck was really fun to play. This is a sweet deck to play. A little bit unlucky against Death and Taxes, but I think that is like quite a good matchup. And then of course we went down to another deck, which I can't say what it is just yet. Oh, rebuy Yorion? Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I just don't think about companions, and I think that's a big reason why I haven't played them that much, because I just get so focused on the actual game that I forget about having the deck around. Ah, yeah, Luris Delver. Went down to Luris Delver. But yeah, this deck seemed like a really nice deck to play. I'm sure there might be some changes that we could make to the mana base. There was some times where Gilded Goose just wasn't enough, so maybe I want to have the 4th Noble Hierarch over the 3rd Gilded Goose, but I think that's, you know, much of a muchness. You could also go for like a Birds of Paradise if you wanted, just to change things up as well, in regards to what you can actually get, and playing around things like Plague Engineer. The crop rotations were really nice, not just for Bojuka Bog, but also just, you know, being able to hold up Karakas or Wasteland is really good. Yorion's just like amazing to play with. There aren't too many times where you don't have something to bounce for value, which is great. So that's obviously pretty nice. Jace was interesting. Jace never really came up. The bounce effect on a Dreadhorde Arcanist was nice, but other than that, it was mainly just fodder for the Force of Wills. We do have a pretty high counter blue cards in this deck because of the Ice-Fang Coatl's 4/4, so I don't think that's an issue. It's a 4/5 Muldrifter. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Yihue, this is a sweet deck, so thank you very much for the list. I'm going to play it back on Friday night, which is in 2 nights, and then probably again on Sunday morning, which should be pretty fun. But a huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched. A huge thank you to the new subs. Really nice to be back streaming. Really nice to be playing some Legacy, and of course, if companions aren't here to stay, it's really nice to get as much time with them as possible. Not sure if it's legal next week. Yeah, unfortunately. I do have a sweet Yorion deck that I play in Highlander, which I played on Friday, which was sweet. So luckily you can still play it there because you are Australian, and of course Melbourne does have a great Highlander scene. But yeah, a huge thank you to you guys. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at Twitter/Dugs on Twitch. If you want to find all my videos and streams, you can find them on YouTube/Dugs on Twitch. I do have content on there that isn't streamed as well. I do have some like recorded games that I go through and kind of give a bit more commentary because we don't have chat in recorded games, which is pretty sweet. I'm going to see who else is streaming, and if there is another Legacy streamer, I will definitely raid them. No Legacy streamer, but Gabriel and Asif is playing, who is a big fan of the stream. Hey, Showery Lobster, thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? Oh, Marco's playing Legacy? Marco Mail. Interesting. Oh. There we go. Alright guys, take it easy. Enjoy. Have a great night. Thanks, Graham. All the best, and I'll hopefully see you on Friday. Cheers.